Well, hello everyone. I'm gonna do probably the final video for the citrus trees that relates to the series. It's not really a series, but it's kind of like a conglomeration I've made following what happens when you see the citrus trees go through some major freezes and some pretty serious droughts. You really have to care and tend to citrus trees in very specific ways in order to have them, especially when you at the max of their grow zone. I'm an 8B, and most citrus trees, this is going to be the limit of where they're going to grow in ground. And I'll show you a few of the things I have done and where we have come to since that 2 years in a row for major freezes and 2 years in a row of nasty drought months. Right now, not a drought. We had rain pretty much for the last week pretty good, and we got a system in the Gulf right now. I don't even know where it's at. I haven't been paying attention to it. It's supposed to be heading this way. Yesterday the high was around 85, 86. It was hot yesterday and humid. Today there's a little bit of a, it's not so bad in the air. It's tolerable. There's a little slight, it feels like maybe southeast breeze, southwest breeze coming in. I don't know where that system is, but we're at November. I think this is November 9th. Let me see. I gotta check. November 8th. November 8th, and we're still in the 80s. We've only had one little cold snap so far, and this is unprecedented heat that we're having. So, good for the citrus trees. A lot of water, tropical conditions, and heat. They love that. Now, too much heat, they don't like that. And dry heat, they don't like that. They like the tropical conditions. Little butterfly just flew across. I don't know if y'all see that. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit of what I've done, how the trees are reacting. As you can see, there's fruit on this tree. I'll go ahead and pop one off and give it a little go. I haven't really eaten any this year yet. I usually let them hang as long as I can. If they get close to a freeze, I'll go ahead and pull them all down. They last pretty good, long time on the counter or in the fridge or whatever. But I can tell right now my mouth's starting to water. It's good, sweet. I can smell a citrusy satsuma aromas coming from this. So you can see that this is a nice, pretty Awori satsuma. Excellent flavor. Gives me chills down my spine. Oh, that's so good. And it's not at its best yet. A couple more cold snaps on them. The cold actually brings the sweetness up, but it is real good right now. So usually I don't finish these. I just talk about I'm eating this one. Deer walking down the road over there. A lot of deer been on the property lately. All right, absolutely fantastic. The fruit is good. This showing of fruit this year, abysmal. This is probably the worst year I've had since I've been in this homestead, this house, this property. But the fact that I got some is nothing short of a little miracle, considering where these trees were at the beginning of this year. And if you've been following, and if you saw some of the old videos where I showed you the progression through the freeze and what happens to these trees, maybe I'll put a little bit of that in here to bring some people who maybe didn't get to see those videos, bring you up to speed. These trees took a hammering, and they're still suffering from that. But as you see, this one produced a very small showing of fruit. Some of them didn't do anything at all. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm gonna bring the camera around and show y'all. All right, we'll start off with this tree that has the fruit on it. This tree, the fruit, they're noticeably smaller this year. Not all of them, but I can tell that they're a little bit on the smaller side, and they're definitely sparse on this tree. This tree has always been a really thick producer of satsumas, and this year I'd say maybe 100 or so on there. Really not a lot. This tree also took some damage down here on the trunk, and it's healing itself over. Citrus trees will heal themselves over. It's not something you want to see, but they will do it. You see branches like this one right here. It's really struggling. It's got fruit on one of the parts of it, but this is rotten. That needs to come out of there. You should trim that back, and I'll show you that I did trim a lot of this tree. You see it, that's a trim right there. But this branch, see how I trimmed it right here? I cut it. That's cut. This branch, really, see how it's split? The bark is split, and bugs up in there. That's not good. That's no good. See the little bugs up in there? That's no good. So I'm trying to save this branch, but that's what happens when it freezes. They'll split. It'll rupture and split. You see I cut right here, cut right here, cut right here. I was trying to save this branch, and it might still save, but it's very weak. And see this right here? The only part of it alive is this one that comes up, and it has 2 fruits on it. So I'm gonna let it keep going. This is a very nice one coming off of it, so we'll see if it can bring itself back. But really, I'm probably going to come trim that whole thing off. And if you look around up in this tree, there's other places where I hit it. There's also succession of when fruit are ready. This one's still greenish, but you can eat them at that point. I've eaten them as early as actually July. And well, one year, and they were edible. They weren't as sweet as what they would be, and they were green, but they were still good. So when you have new growth coming, citrus trees the new leaves, a lot of times they get hit by leaf miners, and they're susceptible to diseases. See the leaf miners were up in there? You can see the track. That's a leaf miner made that track. That doesn't kill a leaf or hurt the tree. It'll still perform its photosynthesis and its the biochemical reactions it needs to form to make life happen for it and to sustain life. But a lot of people don't like that. That's the larva of a butterfly or a moth or something that gets in there and makes that. You can see them in almost all new leaves. I can see the track right there, kind of following through. See it on the underside? You could really see it. And they show on the other side. Oh, see, they got that black stuff right there. I don't like that. That's some kind of black stuff that's not supposed to be on there. So this tree is doing probably as good as any of the trees I have. And it's got fruit on it. Very nice fruit. Delicious. Very tasty. So let's move on to the tree next to it. Another great producer this year. Probably the best producer. I said that one was the best producer. This is probably the best producer, but this is kumquat. Look at all the kumquats on this tree. This is just totally loaded. Kumquats can generally handle a little bit colder weather than any of the other ones, like satsumas, oranges, definitely lemons. Limes can't handle any cold. But kumquats are pretty resilient. This one took a pounding in 2017. We had snow and 2 bad freezes back to back. And this one is, I'd say this is, here in 2024, this is the best year it's had since then. It's had good years, but this is definitely the best. Look at it hanging deep with fruit right there. Just massive amounts of kumquats on this tree. More than I'll ever eat. Hopefully the neighbors will come by and help me with these. People like to make marmalades out here with this great fruit to make a marmalade with. So wonderful, wonderful tree. Right next to it here is one of the younger satsumas. It's been having a rough time because of the droughts and because of the freezes. But look at it, it's coming back strong, showing I cut right here, cut that off because that was a dead branch from the freeze, and I clipped it right here. You got to clip that dead stuff off of there. My clippers weren't necessarily as sharp as they should. See this right here dead? You should take that off. You should take all the dead parts off. They foster disease. And see these lichens that grow in here? I don't like that, but there's really nothing I can do about that. See, it's not good. And you can take that off by hand for a certain amount of time, but once they get real big, it's pretty much a losing battle. But I don't like those lichens on there. I don't know if there's something you can spray to actually take that off of there. I've never really gone after them too much. This one's showing it's all over, and this is another satsuma right here, one of the probably the mid-range, and you can see that lichen all over this one. They handle it. They handle that stuff. It just keeps the bark moist where it shouldn't, fosters little rot in there and stuff that you don't want to happen. You can just scrape it off with your fingernails and stuff, which I'm doing and getting it all up under this. But yeah, it's not the end of the world kind of stuff. This one you can see I trimmed up right here. Took a pretty good cut to it. I used a sawzall on them when they were big branches, but up at the top you can see that branch way up there. That one should have come off, but I can't reach that. I'd have to get up on the ladder. But this one actually did pretty good. It came back well. No fruits though. Here's another coming around, satsuma. This one's really coming on strong. This one's getting big. Look at the new growth. This is all new right here, and more new growth with the heat and the hot weather. This is all new this year. All of this right here is all new. All this is new. You see how them leaf minders get in there and they curl these leaves? They really give them, see? They got all up in there. So I could spray this tree with some kind of poison, but I try to not use poisons as much as I can. You know, everybody has to use them from time to time, but I try. They will survive that, and that is new growth, and that's fine enough. It'll live. And this one's really doing well all the way around. Good tree. Gonna really come on. And this is the other big tree. It should have produced fruit. It had, if you go back and look at the videos, they had flowers all over these, but the flowers just, the tree knows how healthy it is to support the fruit. It just dropped all the flowers. There's only, I think, 1 or 2 satsumas. There's one on this tree, and I think there's another one on the other side. Yeah, there it is. Oh, wait, there's 3, because look at that little teensy one. And then a nice one right here. Nice, pretty satsuma, perfect. But you can see how I had to cut this tree, trim it. Had a bunch of dead coming out of it. A lot of these took a hit, but this tree really came back, bounced back nice. Trunk looks good. You really want to put some good mulch. My wife puts the leaves under here and keeps them nice and mulched to keep the weed trouble down. These little things right here, these vining ferns. I don't know exactly. I forgot what the exact genus and species. But this thing right here is a nightmare around here. It's all up in my fig trees right now, and it chokes everything out. I gotta go get them out, and hopefully I can save my fig trees. But this is the satsumas. Let's go take a look at the one way over here. This one took a pounding. All right, y'all. This is the one that's kind of little on the other side of the house. Look at the camellias. Some of the camellias are flowering. Looks beautiful. So this tree was on its last leg. It was throwing up the death knell. And look at all the new growth, the new leaves coming out. Wow. They're all curled, but that's okay. That's new growth. See this? They're going to unfurl, and they're doing really good. There's some more of that vine I was telling y'all about, and you couldn't get that out of here. But look how much I had to cut on this tree to get it to start putting out new growth. Look at this. All of that. This whole branch looked dead, and they had this one coming off of it that I cut. And look at all the new, this is all new growth. Deer eat this. You got to watch. The deer will eat them. That's all cut. You see where I cut on here, on there, all the way down. I cut this right here. Just see how it's blistering all up in there. I'm hoping that this tree heals itself, but look at it putting out new little shoots up and down this branch. See how that one's blistering? This tree, I thought I was gonna lose it, but it's really showing that it's gonna come back. It's putting out brand new branches, really cut it back hard. And look at all the new coming off of there. Beautiful. So it's healing itself, and they will do that. You got to give them a chance. Try to give them a chance when it seems like all hope is lost. Still stay with it and trim them back. Get all that dead stuff off of there, because that dead stuff will foster disease and keep them from repairing themselves. See how I pull all of that off of there? And the top of this tree, really, see how this branch is dead. That needs to come off of there. That branch is dead. It needs to come off of there. So I need to get up there with the loppers and get that off of here. Here, this whole branch right here. This is a good example. This whole branch, see how it blistered? Is dead. It's coming off of here. The one that splits off is alive. But this whole branch, all the way, is dead. That needs to come off. And if I cut it, I'm going to cut it right here and let this branch continue on. And this one will come up, and this one will come up in its in the area where that other one is. So we really are seeing, it looks like a rescue here for this tree. This tree looks like it's been rescued. It's really bouncing back. And this tree produced, it used to be very, very full and as big as those other ones, the other two big ones I showed you. And I really had to give this thing a big trimming. And now look, it's putting out new growth. It's going to be, hopefully it returns to its former glory. All right, let's go see some of the new trees. Let's go take a look at some of the new trees that I have. This is like an orchard area. This is a fail for walnuts. Walnuts just will not grow out here. At least I can't grow them. Look at that. They just don't grow. Termites in there. Don't try that in the south. Don't happen. Okay. Okay, way over here in the back, I have a lemon tree that I strategically planted next to my smokehouse, which I need to clean this area up a lot more. I'm coming this way. I'm getting ready to build a new coop, so all this area is going to be changed soon. But this is a lemon tree. This is a Meyer lemon, and this thing has hung on and made it through some really tough times. And one of the reasons I planted it next to this smokehouse is because this is the western side of the smokehouse. And when the western sun comes through here, it heats that up, and it'll give it a little bit more protection, and it gives it protection from the northeast wind that can come through. So it's protected by this shield of forest and by the smokehouse. So it really worked out that I planted it here, because lemon trees are very susceptible to cold temperatures. They're very intolerant of cold. Look at that spider egg pod right there. See it? But anyway, I haven't ever had any real fruit off of this tree. Look at this, another one. Y'all see that? Huh. And the bugs just totally ate this, so maybe I need some spiders on here. And the deer will get it. I could tell they stood up and they nipped this. They nip this and they nip it, and they see how they cut it. But this really is doing well. Really doing well for what it is. Lemon trees are hard to keep going, and this one is showing that it's doing well. Once you get them to this size and a little bit bigger, it becomes easier. I need to get rid of those ants too. It becomes a little easier. The hardest thing about citrus trees is the first few years of their lives. They're so susceptible, so vulnerable to everything. And I'll show you some of this right here. I got some I planted earlier this year. I'm planting them in different areas. I planted them over here because I want the fruit, and I want to spread them out. This one's doing pretty good. This is a Awari Satsuma, and I had to put this up around them finally. The deer just would not let these things grow. They will not. And see, I got new growth on there now finally. But that is a Awari Satsuma, and it's doing pretty good, but it took a pounding from the deer. But this is a 1-year tree, doing pretty good. So you could tell this tree really did good, considering what it's been through this year with the drought that it had to go through. Look at all this new growth. This is just beautiful right here and right there. It's really just putting on some, and this just big giant branch of new growth right here. Let me kind of pull this over a little bit, give it a little there, kind of, yeah, those deer, this is just enough to dissuade them. Yeah, see, it pokes them when they try and get up in here, and they leave it alone. So this is really doing good. Now the orange tree, it took a hammering, but look at all of this great new growth coming on with all this heat we've been having. Look at that, look at that. And I love myself. This is called a Louisiana Sweet, and I didn't know this before, but a Louisiana Sweet is the same as a Hamlin. And Hamlins, to me, are the best eating oranges. And I'm going to show you one more Hamlin tree. We're going to go back to the front. I'm going to show you the Hamlin and the lemon tree that's up in the front. But this tree, it's a 1-year tree. The deer gave it heck. And you can see how the deer just came and ate every one of the leaves off of this tree. And then now they're coming back. They're putting out new growth. You can see where it was clipped, but that's all new growth coming. So good deal. Just got to hope that this year we don't have any major freezes. I'm praying for no Arctic freezes this year. And I'm not going to do anything on these, but these fig trees, look, I told you about that fern that it's over. I cut these back so the figs could grow. I got to get in here and mulch. I'm going to cut them back again. Look at this stuff. It's totally decimating my figs. The figs did great this year, and then this stuff just came on, and I got to get rid of this. I'm cutting these trees back significantly this year. I'm cutting these trees back significantly this year. and I'm gonna mulch around. I'm gonna either kill them or I'm gonna save them once and for all, because this is a mess. This is just and that chicken coop is going down. So I will be building a new chicken coop pretty soon. All right. And folks, when I say we had a drought on here, this was a healthy, solid water oak right here. And it's just dead, dropping its leaves. I'm hoping it falls, like the big parts fall off and it doesn't all the way fall and hit my trees over there. I could probably get a chainsaw and get it down, but anyway I can fell this tree, it might end up on top of my swing gazebo right there right now. So I'm hoping the top just falls off. But you want to know, a drought took out a real healthy, strong water oak, and this ain't the only one. I got another one way on the other side of the property that's dead too, 2 of them. So we had a bad drought. This right here is a beautiful example of taking care of your trees and planting a tree that's at the pinnacle, the max of its grow zone. This is a Hamlin orange, or a Louisiana sweet. Orange trees are known to have more spines than satsumas, so they will be more spiny. The spiniest trees are the grapefruits, and I don't like grapefruit, so I don't grow grapefruit. But this tree, I planted this one about 3, maybe 4 years back, but it's doing spectacular for where it is. And I strategically planted it right here in this little nook of these other citrus trees to protect it from a northeast wind and to give it as much heat as it can make it through, filter through from the west setting sun. And it really has worked out well. You have to know how to plant these. You got to do it strategically. And I'll tell you, I messed up. I made mistakes. But this one is doing wonderful. I had to cut this one branch off here because it was dying, but I think that was because I had a rope tied up to brace it. But it is really doing wonderfully. Ow. Spikes. I wish I could get this branch. I might train this one to grow out this way. I might put a stake in the ground and hold this one to where you can train these trees to grow how you want them to grow. So I'm hoping I can do that. The last tree I'm gonna show and highlight is a Meyer lemon, and this tree has been my project. I never thought this one was gonna make it. The year I planted it, it looked horrible, and I think I planted it too close to these black gum trees. These are Tupelo trees, or black gum, and I don't know if they're sapping the nutrients from it or what, but this tree, I really had to trim it back. You can see where I cut it, and then the branch grew off of there, and they're growing from way down deep. And another thing about lemons, they're probably very spiny, just like oranges and grapefruits. They have a lot of spines. I just got hit by them. But these are Meyer, I think they call them improved Meyer lemons. This one keeps coming back. All right, so I forgot where exactly I was at when I was talking about this tree, but one of my neighbors stopped by and we were chit-chatting for a while. All right, I planted this lemon tree way before I planted that orange tree right here, and you can see the difference in the size. It's just incredible that it takes this long for lemons to grow, and the fact that I can keep it alive that's pretty remarkable in itself. I'm hoping I can still do that. I hope it grows into a tree like the one in the back, but evidently I think this gap in between these satsuma trees lets enough of that north breeze come through here, and it really gives it heck. It really gives it hell. It really is not good for it. So hopefully when these grow, and if this one can stay alive, it'll do better. So we'll see. That's one of my hypotheses. But another thing is always keep mulch on the ground. You want to keep that ground underneath them pretty moist. You want to keep it looser than that. That more mulch you put over the years loosens that ground up a little bit. You got this clay soil around here that they don't like that so much. So anyway, that's enough of this. I hope y'all enjoyed this to see how you can get them back. This one has a little couple dead branches I need to come snip off, but how you can bring your citrus trees back from the brink and have a really productive year, even in the bad years. My neighbor just told me he'll want to stop by. He said no one else has got citrus this year because it's been such a rough year, and I'm very fortunate to have what I do. So just keep at it. That's all I can say. You know, keep plugging away and keep trying new things, and sooner or later something's gonna stick. They say if you throw some mud at the wall, something's gonna stick. All right, just keep throwing some mud at the wall. All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.